the Secretary, and all distinguished invitees for Future Minds. Pardon me for not mentioning names. I'm not very familiar with some of them. So, in general, I address all of you all and the students. I think this is the second time I'm participating in this. So let me first congratulate this organization. Looking at a global requirement which is localized now, which is a requirement, which is an essential thing. It's a necessity for a country like ours. We are moving forward in the direction of calling Sri Lanka a hub of education. Now, to make it a reality, it cannot be only the public. The private sector must come in. Well, I've been a private sector person. I always advocate the private sector. I always feel the competition, but not to totally eliminate the public sector. But the public sector should go in hand with the private sector, create a very healthy competition. Now, one might argue, stating that in the education you cannot have competition. But let me remind, I'm sure all of you all are aware, that in UK, country where education is given priority, their main source of income is education. While they seriously consider about scholarships and various other parts, concessions, their main income derives from education. Not only, one might say that now it is commercialized. One can argue that it is commercialized. But on the other hand, if you look at the 500 Fortune companies, they write personally to this, in states, the Ivy League universities, in UK and rest of the world, on their rating. And they do the headhunting. They don't subject themselves to interviews sometimes. Now that is the importance of good education, recognized education, and bringing recognition to an institution. No one is left out, and that's your motto. I think it's, yeah. No one is left behind. You can't leave anybody. Everybody must be given the opportunity. Very few picks it up. People who picks it up must be given the best possible opportunity to move forward. And I believe that's what you all are trying to do. I must make a confession here. I really do not know the exact mechanisms of it. All what I know is in one hand, you are taking institutions that provides the opportunity for our students, for our children, where they fall out from the government sector, public sector, where they'll get the opportunity or the space for them to move forward and pursue their education in whatever the field. Secondly, I must congratulate for decentralizing this. Many activities are centered around Colombo. I am an elected member of the Kandy district and I very welcome that. This opportunity also must be further decentralized, maybe even to the north, Jaffna, the east, where we had neglected, in fact, for over a period of 20, 30 years. And they are not less intelligent. They must be also given the opportunity to move forward. I'm sure the many private sector people have moved in there and they're quite happy, not only in terms of economic gains, but also as a service. So insofar as this future minds, I always say future world. And that's what remains in my mind, because future minds leads to future world. Because future world is full of competition. It's full of challenges. Finally, with the competition, we underline, emphasize the best wins. And that opportunity has to be created. As you know, in Sri Lanka, we have 500,000 people sitting for the O-level exams. 325,000 sits for the A-level exams. 22,000 gets into the universities. That's out of the qualified people who are allowed if they were born in any other country where they could have had university education. So the disparity and the injustice is immense. I am totally against the people who are going in position, holding placards around the Lipton circles for private education. They won't provide the education for children through the government sector. But when the private sector comes forward, they only try to sabotage that or to come out with some story which are ruining our education and opportunities. We spend, I don't think you will ever believe it, $600 million last year for education outside. And in fact, they don't get that education, that proper education. There are some less than polytechnics. There are merchants who try to market some other universities which are the so-called universities. If you look at Manchester, you have the Manchester main university, but you have many polytechnics or grades that are even lower than that. And you pay in pounds. And that $600 million is who takes them to the central bank, takes a form, fills a form, and it is accounted. I suppose equal or more are not accounted. When my children are educated there, I take the money and pay there or with the credit card. It is a funny system. You can't take more than $10,000, but you can take the credit card with $100,000. I'm sure the camera is here. Dr. P. Vijayasundara will pick it up as to how you justify this. Right. So, all in all, I think your effort and your attempt and your enthusiasm to build in and to bring in institutions together and giving the opportunity for our children has to be accepted, has to be congratulated, has to be given the fullest support by the government to move forward towards that direction. I won't take much time. I've told our organizers what happens is when we are on a platform, and particularly the politicians, when they get to the platform, they generally don't leave it. But as far as I'm concerned, I always say that time management is a part of our education, which is very, very rare. Right? I have 8 meetings today, so I need to plan out my timing. And in education, particularly the school functions, I go exactly on the dot, very punctual, but I tell the principal, I walk out after 45 minutes. So within 45 minutes, they could arrange whatever they want. And that has worked well. And that is another area of discipline, I think, where we need to learn. Particularly the public figures like us, we are not disciplined in that sector, I must confess that. We all need to look at it. We all need to manage our time. And why I am here today is I am a great advocate of education. I respect academics. I respect intellectuals. But I have a huge arguments with some of my colleagues in the universities. Academics have to be differentiated from intellectuals. There are academics, but their level of intellectuality is sometimes questioned. I don't want to give examples. We have enough and more examples. But there are intelligent people who takes a task who keeps to the task, who fulfill the task and give results. So we need to produce, of course, academics plus intellectuals who are prepared to take up challenges and task-oriented. And all this must end up with a job market analysis. There's no point because nobody will believe in the private sector education if they get the education, they're held into a certificate and walks in and go behind a politician to find employment. Then the whole exercise is lost. Job market has to be analyzed, and your curriculums and your education, your system of, the entire curriculum should be geared to meet the market requirement in terms of job market. There is no point producing graduates. Today we find about 60% are art graduates. I'm not blaming the art graduates. It's a system of education that has created that. And they come. Fortunately, we decided, whether rightly or wrongly, to give 52,000 employment by President Mahinda Rajapaksa to all the graduates. They've absorbed all the graduates up to 2012. But I really think that all curriculums in the universities has to change. Has to look at it sort of with a market analysis. The requirement of a job market has to be analyzed, and accordingly, we must build it. When I was the foreign employment minister, I found that in the Gulf, there was a huge, huge demand, and a very lucrative salaries were paid for quantity service. But we produced only 50 quantity service. I went and met the dean, I spoke to them, but they say that's a tradition and we don't want to increase it. And I never saw a point there. And just 3 days before the budget that year, I had to speak to His Excellency the President, who also the Finance Minister, and get an allocation from Moratowa University to have another, to increase the intake to 150. India took the tip. India started a private sector quantity service, and they started producing thousands, and they are employed, well employed all over the Gulf. Now that's the opportunity that we have missed. So I think I'm not going to drag on anymore. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be associated with an organization that fosters, that takes forward the requirement of Sri Lanka. Requirement of the country, requirement of our nation. Congratulations once again. And let me just speak few words in Sinhala because I find it is important. සුබෝදෑසනක්. අධ්‍යාපනයට සීමාවක් නැහැ. අධ්‍යාපනය වෙනුවෙන් විශේෂයෙන්ම රාජ්‍ය අංශය කරන්නට පුළුවන් මිලියන 42ක්. 4.2ක් සමාවෙන්න. මේ රටේ ශිෂ්‍යයන් ඉන්නවා ලක්ෂ 5ක් ඕ ලෙවල් වලට පාඩි වෙනවා. ලක්ෂ 3ක් විතර සාමාන්‍ය පෙළට පාඩි වෙනවා. 22000ක් විශ්වවිද්‍යාල වලට යනවා. තේරුම් ගන්නට පුළුවන් කොච්චර ඉඩ ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවද කියලා අනිකුත් අංශවලට. ඉතින් මෙවැනි වැඩපිළිවෙලක් කරහා ඒ කාර්යය කිරීම මම හිතනවා ඉතා වැදගත් වෙනවා. ඒ වැදගත් වැඩපිළිවෙලේ මුල් පෙළේ ආයතනයක් හැටියට මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ නැවත වරක් සුබ පතනවා. ඒ වගේම දෙවනි වතාවට මම සුබ පතනවා මේක විමධ්‍යගත කිරීම. මම කොළඹට පමණක් සීමා නොකර නුවරට ගෙන ඒකම ගැන සතුටු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා මේක උතුරට නැගෙනහිරට දකුණට මම හිතන්නේ ගාල්ලෙත් තිබ්බ උතුර නැගෙනහිරත් අමතක කරන්න එපා. මොකද උතුර නැගෙනහිරත් ඉතා වැදගත් වෙනවා. අපේ ඉදිරි වැඩපිළිවෙළවල් වලට රටක් හැටියට ජාතියක් හැටියට අපිට උතුරු නැගෙනහිර අමතක කරන තරමටම ප්‍රශ්න වැඩි වෙනවා. අපි හුඟක් වෙලාවට අද නිදහස ලබාගත්ත නිදහසේ උපරිම ප්‍රයෝජනය ගන්න පෞද්ගලික අංශ හුඟක් වෙලාවට මහන්සි වෙනවා. පෞද්ගලික අංශයෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා ඒ ගැන දැඩි අවධානයක් යොමු කරන්නයි කියලා. ඉතින් අධ්‍යාපනයට පළක් වෙලාවට මේ පෞද්ගලික අධ්‍යාපනයට බෝඩ් ලෑලි එල්ලගෙන පාරේ ඉන්න අය අඩුවක් වෙන එකක් නෑ. හැබැයි ඒකත් අපේ සමාජයේ එක කොටසක්, අපේ සංස්කෘතියේ මේක කොටසක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒ ගැන මම හිතන්නේ වැඩි තැකීමක් කළ යුතු නෑ. තමන්ගේ හිතට එකඟව යුතුයකම් වගකීම් ඉෂ්ට කරන වැඩපිළිවෙලක් හැටියට මේ ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න මම හිතනවා තමුන්නාන්සලාට ශක්තිය තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපේ සුබ පැතුම් එකතු කරමින් අද දවසේ මේ වැඩපිළිවෙලට නැවත වරක් මගේ සුබ පැතුම් එකතු කරමින් මෙය රටේ ජාතිය අවශ්‍යතාවයක් ප්‍රතිපත්තිමය වශයෙන් රට අධ්‍යාපනයේ කේන්ද්‍රයක් කිරීමට ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ පංච කේන්ද්‍රයේ එක අංශයක් හැටියට සලකලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අධ්‍යාපනයේ සීමාවල් නැහැ. යම් යම් අවස්ථාවලදී අපි මම පෞද්ගලිකව කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේ විරුද්ධ වෙලා තිබෙනවා සීමාවන් එනවා නම් අධ්‍යාපනයට සීමාවන් නැහැ. ලෝකේ එංගලන්තය ගත්තොත් විශාලතම ආදායමක් ලබන අධ්‍යාපනය. ඒ අධ්‍යාපනයේ කමර්ෂල් එහෙම නැත්නම් වාණිජ පැත්තක් තියෙනවා. ඒක නැහැයි කියන්න බෑ. එවැනි ආයතන දුවන්න බෑ එහෙම නැත්නම්. ඒ වාණිජ පැත්ත සහ අධ්‍යාපනයේ ගුණාත්මකතාවය සමබරව ගෙනියන්නට පුළුවන් නම් අන්න එතන සාධාරණයක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් අද වෙන්නේ පෙලක් වෙලාට පිටරට යනවා ඒ ගේන සහතිකේ වටිනාකමක් නැතුව යනවා. මොකද අපි දන්නවා ඇමරිකාව ගත්තොත් අයිවි ලීග් කියලා තියෙන විශ්වවිද්‍යාල තවත් පිළිගත් විශ්වවිද්‍යාල තියෙනවා. ගලන්තේ තියෙනවා. හැබැයි එහෙම නැති ආයතන වලනෙත් මේ සහතික එහෙම ගෙනහලා ඒ අය මේක වෙළඳාමක් හැටියට කරනවා නම් අන්න එතන මේ සම්බන්ධව අපිට මැදිහත් වෙන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා රටක් හැටියට රජයක් හැටියට. ඉතින් සෑම දෙනාම කිසිම කෙනෙක් අතාරින්නේ නැහැ අපි. සෑම කෙනෙකුටම මේ අවස්ථාව දෙනවයි කියන තේමාව ඉතා වැදගත් තේමාවක්. ඒ තේමාව තුළ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න මම හිතනවා ඒක රටේ අවශ්‍යතාවයක් හැටියට අපි ඔක්කොම පිළිගන්නවා. ඒ පිළිගන්න නිසා මම ඔබතුමාලට නැවත වරක් ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. යම් කිසි අඩුපාඩුවක් වුණා නම් මම කනගාටුව ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. මොකද මේ සම්බන්ධව මම අධ්‍යයනයක් දීර්ඝ වශයෙන් කරලා නැහැ. දැඩි in depth නමුත් හදිස්සියෙම තමයි මෙතුමා මම හිතන්නේ මීට දවස් දෙකකට පෙර මට කිව්වේ වගේ අමාත්‍යාංශ ඉන්නකොට. ඒ කෙසේ වෙතත් අපි සතුටු වෙනවා. නැවත වරක් සුබ පතමින් මේ වැඩපිළිවෙල හරහා අපේ දරුවන්ට අපේ අනාගතය බාර ගන්න ඉන්න දරුවන්ට ඒ සාධාරණ අවස්ථාව ලබා ගන්නට හැකි වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමින් මගේ වචන ස්වල්ප අවසන් කරන බොහොම ස්තුතියි.